Welcome to the Z Jaipur Literature Festival music stage. As always, we have artists from all over the world to perform for you for the next 4 days. From the UK, from Azerbaijan, from Pakistan, and from right here in India. Our first performance is a story narrated by members of the group Transglobal Underground that came here a few years ago and will perform tomorrow night as well. They will tell you a story of the king and the corpse. Please welcome on stage Sheema Mukherjee and TUUP.
Sound is coming good. How you doing, bro? Sound is coming good. Oh. So, we're about to go on a journey. Yeah. 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 So we are so glad that you are here with us in this moment. We would like to share with you the tried old tradition of storytelling, story sharing. Before we begin to share with you a story, there is a call and a response. If I say to you, honor, can you say to us, respect? Let's go. Honor. Honor. Respect. Honor. Anytime you hear it, you must be ready to respond. The story we would like to share with you is a story which comes far, far back in India. It's a story I read a long time ago. I know it as The King and the Corpse. The story within a story within a story. At the end of every story there's a dilemma. And the king must think what the dilemma is. We can't tell you all the stories. We're going to give you the introduction and maybe one and two others. Honor! Honor! Aye! So we begin. The King and the Corpse. A long time ago in India, in a certain realm, there's a king. His name is King Vikram. What is his name? King Vikram is his name. King Vikram is a young king. He lives in a beautiful palace with beautiful gardens. The river Ganga runs, flowing past his palace. He's a young king. He has not taken for himself a wife. He wishes to enjoy kingmanship. King Vikram is loved and respected by many people under him. Although King Vikram is young, he is virtuous, he is honorable, he is righteous, he is true to his word. King Vikram looks out from his balcony and he can see a group of sadhus making their way up into the mountains. And King Vikram says, I want to understand these people. They move naked as the day that they are born, but they are so proud and they have such honor. I hope I will meet them and understand their way. Honor. Unbeknown to King Vikram, there is a wise sadhu. The sadhu's name is Kashanti. What's his name? Kashanti has been studying King Vikram. Kashanti needs someone like King Vikram who is honorable, respected, and virtuous. Kashanti is a sadhu, his hair matted like the roots from a tree. One day, Kashanti dresses himself humbly and he comes to the court of King Vikram and he says, King Vikram, you are a respected man. The people in your kingdom, they love you. King Vikram, you have everyone's order. King Vikram, I am just a poor, humble beggar. I travel from one place to another. But I know that everyone must pay their tribute. They must pay their tax. And so, King Vikram, I can only give you that which I collect myself. I bring for you a fruit. The fruit is of an apple. King Vikram turns to Kashanti and says, your gift is worth more than those who have, for you have nothing and still you respect custom. Your gift is welcome. The gift is handed to the manservant. The manservant is told to place the gift in the storerooms of the palace. And the gift is handed over. The manservant goes to the storeroom, throws it away. Kashanti bows before King Vikram. King Vikram respects Kashanti and they part. Honor! Honor! Respect! Each and every single month, Kashanti comes bearing his gift. Each and every single month, on the appointed day, Kashanti comes bearing his gift. For 7 years and more, every single month for 7 years, Kashanti bears his gift. A pineapple, an apple, a pear, a mango, every single month. On the 7th year, at the appointed day, Kashanti comes with his gift. It is handed as usual over to the manservant. The manservant He fondles with the mango. The mango drops from his hands. It rolls across the palace grounds. There are macaques, monkeys, always around. One of the monkeys sees the escaping fruit, jumps down, picks up the mango, bites into the mango. Ah! The monkey screams. It jumps up on the wall, and the monkey is gone. The manservant comes over, picks up the mango, only to discover that lying there where should be a seed is a jewel, a beautiful gem, a wonderful, precious stone. The manservant turns to King Vikram and says, King Vikram, look at this. King Vikram looks at the mango. He can see there inside is the jewel. King Vikram, he looks at Kashanti and he says to him, we will have words. Go no further. King Vikram and the manservant, they go down to the storerooms and they open up the storeroom, and there they can see 7 years and more of pulp and maggots and mess. And inside that mess there is diamonds, jewels, rubies, treasures. King Vikram leaves that place. He makes his way back up to the palace and he turns to Kashanti and he says, what is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of this? Ah! You have discovered my gift, says Kashanti. You have discovered what lies within my presence. King Vikram says, I am a Maharaj. I have many treasures, none of which you have presented to me can I give back to you. Why do you present to me for 7 years every month a gift without telling me what lies within? Kashanti says, King Vikram, my words are for you and your heirs only. King Vikram is intrigued. He makes his court clear, and King Vikram and Kashanti begin to have words. Respect, honor, Kashanti says to King Vikram, you must know this. I have studied the arts, the morning arts, the dark arts, the evening arts. I have studied high esoteric magic and power. I have black magic, white magic, purple magic, green magic, fire magic. I have studied them all. In 14 days' time, the dark side of the moon will be above us. The stars will be in their alignment. The conjunction of the planets are at hand. It will be an auspicious moment, King Vikram. I wish to harness this hour, this power, but I need you to help me. If you agree in helping me, King Vikram, then this is what I can give you. I can give you the lion's throne. The blades of grass that grow beneath your feet shall be extended until you will not know the end of your realm. Your children's 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 children will be like stars in the sky. They will always remember your name. You shall be King Vikram. Kings will bow before you. Do you agree to meet me, King Vikram, in 14 days' time? King Vikram thinks to himself, Now I have a chance to understand these wandering mandikats, these sadhus. Now I have a chance to have some insight into their customs and way. King Vikram turns to Kashanti and says, for 7 years you have been giving me gifts, concealed within there a treasure. Surely I can give you one night of my presence. Ah, says Kashanti, this is good, this is good. Then in 14 days' time I will meet you. Come to see me, King Vikram. Go to the northern part of the outskirts of your kingdom. There I will be at a burial ground for high Brahmins. Come to the burial ground in 14 days' time. When the dark side of the moon is above us, you shall be victorious. I shall await your arrival. Kashanti is gone. Honor! Honor! Kashanti is thinking as the days pass. I wonder if King Vikram will keep to his word and meet me. King Vikram is thinking as the days pass. I wonder what else this Kashanti is hiding in secret. The days they pass and the day it comes. King Vikram dresses all in black. He has his sturdy sword by his side. He makes his way out, winding through the conical houses. He makes his way out to the northern outskirts of his realm of kingdom. He comes to the burial ground. Waiting for him is Kashanti with his paraphernalia of oils, incense. Kashanti is there. He sees King Vikram. Ah, King Vikram, you are honorable. You are true to your word. You have come. Listen, King Vikram, says Kashanti. All that you dream for shall be yours. I wish to become as huge as a mountain and as small as an atom. I wish to be able to dematerialize and materialize in another place. King Vikram, you need to go down to the southern outskirts of your realm. There is a burial ground to the condemned and the dead, the murderers, the rapists, and the dying. They are there. Hanging from a tree is a twisted, gnarled body. Bring that body here. Inside that body, there is a bital, a spirit, a demon that lives in that body. We need that body, for inside that body is the spirit. Bring it here to this sacred ground. I will extract the spirit out of that body, and you will be embodied with power and kingmanship. But be careful, King Vikram. It's a tricky spirit. Don't speak to it. Do you understand? King Vikram says, for 7 years you have been bringing me gifts concealed within inside a treasure. For this one night, I will be victorious in my endeavors. I will return. Good, says Kashanti. Good! Then I make everything ready. I prepare. I prepare. Go now, go now, go. King Vikram, he goes with his sword and he begins to wind his way all the way down to the southern outskirts of his kingdom. As King Vikram makes his way through the burial ground, There he can see the twisted shadows. Sometimes the funeral pyres have not been extinguished. He can see the embers there on the ground. Sometimes jutting out of those embers may be a limb which is not being consumed by the flames. All around King Vikram, he can see the twisted shadows dancing, singing all around him with an airy, twisted sound. King Vikram can see standing there. He can see the gnarled, twisted, emaciated body which hangs from a limb of the branch of the tree. King Vikram can see that this emaciated body with its head towards the ground and its legs over the branch. King Vikram, he goes to the body, he pulls the body down from the tree, it falls upon the ground. King Vikram says, "You're alive." He begins to rub the body immediately disappears and hangs up from the tree as before. King Vikram says, "You are a tricky one." King Vikram goes to the tree again. He pulls down the dead body. He places the dead body over his shoulder, and in silence, King Vikram begins to walk.
Ah, King Vikram, it's so very nice to meet you. I have been waiting centuries to see you. So now I'm going to tell a story to while away the journey.
Honor, respect, honor, respect. As King Vikram is walking, carrying this emaciated, dead, decaying body over his shoulder, the spirit within the body begins to speak to King Vikram, nattering and chattering and chattering and nattering. It tells King Vikram a story. King Vikram listens to the story, which is this. In a village, a woman gives birth to a baby. The midwife is called. The midwife comes to ease the woman of her labor. The face of the midwife is twisted for a while. The mother, she asks the midwife, "What is the problem?" The midwife says, "In the extraction of your child, I may have dislocated its shoulder, but I have clicked it back into place. It shall be okay." The mother, she is happy to be with her child. She embraces her child. The child is happy, it's well, it grows, it lives its life. The child grows up through its years, but the parents discover something. Whenever the child plays too roughly, it becomes bruised too easily. Whenever the child has a cut, it bleeds profusely and will not quell so quickly. So before you know it, the parents, they become concerned and they realize that the child should be dressed in padded clothing. The child becomes known as the delicate one. And as a delicate child, that child grew up through its years. And as the child grew up through its years, it knew of its condition. And with its condition, everyone knew within the village that this child was the delicate child. The years passed into this child's life, and it so happens that the parents, mother and father, grew old. They were now upon their deathbed. They called their son to their side and said, "Son, before we leave this world, will you not take for yourself a wife? Let us be happy to know you have a future ahead of you." The son said to the parents, "Mother, father, how am I to choose a woman who will understand my condition, my delicacy? If I choose a woman and she is very large and stout and she rolls over one night, crushing my bones, it will not be good for me. Mother, father, if I take a woman who is sporty and vigorous and full of power and has a good libido, then what will happen to me? Mother, father, listen, I am willing to take for myself a wife if you can find 3 such women who understand my condition, who are themselves just as delicate, then maybe I will choose one from them." The parents, they say, "This is good. We will speak to the matchmaker. We will bring for you 3 such women, and you will choose from one." Before you know it, 3 such women are presented before the delicate man. And before you know it, the delicate man looks at the 3 such women, and they are all such beautiful. He turns to the first woman and he asks her, "Tell me something. How are you delicate, and how will you understand my condition of being such delicate?" And she says, "I am very delicate. I understand you. I am so delicate, I cannot go out in the light of the full moon, because if the full moon light comes upon me, it burns my skin. So I am very delicate indeed." And he said, "You are very delicate. Honor! Honor!" To the second woman, he turned to her and said, "And tell me something of your delicacy." And she said, "I am very delicate. I am so delicate that if I hear the pestle beating in the mortar from another village, my whole body becomes racked with pain and trembling. My hands have calluses. I am very delicate indeed." "You are delicate," he says. "Respect!" And to the third and to the last one, he asks her, "And tell me, how are you so delicate that you will understand someone like myself?" And she says, "Forget the 2 stories you've just heard, for I am very delicate indeed. Choose me as your wife. My husband, my father, has a beautiful garden. One day the gardener called me to smell an orchid. I went into the garden, and as I leant forward to smell the orchid, the petal fell from the flower. It fell upon my foot, it cut my skin, and it broke my bone. I had to raise up my foot for many days. I am very delicate indeed." And he said, "You are all so delicate." But now he did not know which one to choose. Should he choose the one who is delicate by the light of the moon? Should he choose the one who is delicate from hearing the sound of the pestle beating in the mortar? Should he choose the one who is delicate from the falling petal of a flower?
And if you know the answer and you don't speak, your heads will explode into 1,000 little pieces.
You know, in a very intimate situation, I would be asking you, what do you think about the outcome of this dilemma?
Maybe they can shout.
Maybe they could shout. I don't know if they can shout. Who do you think he should choose as his wife?
The first wife.
The first wife. You heard the first wife. The third wife. Someone says the third wife. The third wife. Well, you know, there are many stories within the stories, and they do say that the one who is affected by the light of the moon, people are affected by the light of the moon. And the one who was affected by the falling petal from the flower, well, something did fall from the flower and hit her upon the foot. but the one who is affected only by the sound of the pestle beating in its mortar. Surely she is the most delicate of them all. As Bob Marley said, when music hits you, you feel no pain. With that, the Bital left the shoulder of King Vikram and was hanging in the same place as before, upside down on the tree in the grave ground. King Vikram turns around, he makes his journey through the grave ground, he pulls down the dead emaciated body, places it over his shoulder, and King Vikram begins to walk in silence. There are many stories within the story of the king and the corpse. There are many dilemmas within dilemmas of the king and the corpse. We have only given you the introduction. This is our telling of the king and the corpse. Yeah, give thanks. Sheema Mukherjee, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.